What's going on, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. How we doing? Hope everybody's had a good day today. Tonight we got one that's long overdue. And really, I should have done that as a video, but I just didn't really have time with work and getting the flu and everything. But I guess better late than never. We've got my list of top 10 movies of 2023. And this was a very, very tough list to make. It took me a lot of time to kind of think it over and figure out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to put what movie. I didn't have time to rewatch everything I wanted to rewatch before like locking in my answers. But, I still, for now I stand by the list. And it's going to be like the same thing as usual. Like I went back and I looked at my list from last year and I would definitely change a couple of my placements from my list last year. So I'm sure I'm going to have the same reaction to this list in a year. Or whenever I rewatch it. So it is what it is. It's just, how I'm feeling right now at the end of the year and where I would put everything, and then time will kind of really change things and solidify things. My number 10 could end up being maybe even my number one. Probably not, but you never know. But that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be looking at my list. And like the Bravo Awards, my list is really just based off of my opinion. I didn't just my top 10 rated movies or my top 10. That's not how I want to do it. I feel like that's boring. So I just ranked them on how much I enjoyed them, how much I think I'm going to go back to them, so on and so forth, that kind of thing. The rewatchability, how much I liked them, how they connected with me, my personal taste, because I could see a movie, think it's objectively a masterpiece, but if I didn't really connect with it, or if I never have the urge to watch it again, it's probably not going to do too great. So this is really just, my personal picks. So, if your favorite movie isn't on here, I also might not have seen it, and it's my personal list. If I was going on objectively, my top 10 movies of the year would be a different list for sure. It'd be a very different list. But that's kind of just the only thing going into it. It's my opinion. We're not going off the Bravo barometer. But like I said during the Bravo Awards, obviously the Bravo barometer, I guess, my rankings play a part in it because I don't like garbage, So that's really about it, though. It's just ranked on how much I enjoyed the movies that connected with them. But anyway, let me stop yapping so I can actually start giving you guys my list right here. But to start off, we do have a few honorable mentions. These are movies that just barely missed it. They just barely missed it, but the movies I really, really enjoyed. First off, Creed 3 started the year out strong. Came out in the beginning of the year, and I loved it. I absolutely loved Creed 3. One of my favorites of the Creed franchise and just the Rocky franchise in general, to be honest. I really liked Michael B. Jordan's directorial style, in this, with how he was shooting the fights and everything. I think it was really good. And I just really, really enjoyed the movie overall. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think it was kind of like a home run that Marvel really needed to hit desperately, because to me, Marvel's kind of just been all over the place. In terms of quality, they haven't really made a lot of movies that I've loved recently. This was one of the ones that I actually really, really enjoyed. I did have some problems with it. That's why it didn't crack my top 10. There's just some elements, I kind of get into it in my review. There's just some elements that I wasn't super crazy about, but overall, I still really did enjoy Guardians 3, and honestly, I feel like on a rewatch, It could maybe crack the top 10. I'm not sure though, but it was a very fun but emotional movie. And James Gunn, went out on a high note for Marvel. What's up, Jeff? And thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, this honorable mention list is good. There were a lot of good movies this year. It was a solid year for sure. So it was hard to just lock in 10. After Guardians 3, Evil Dead Rise, a really solid horror movie. I respect the Evil Dead movies more than I like them, I would say. But I did really enjoy this one. I thought it was like a nice kind of breath of fresh air for the franchise. Just a different setting and kind of it has like the Evil Dead vibes, but a little different and fun. So I did appreciate what they cooked up with Evil Dead Rise. I'm happy that it wasn't just a streaming movie and I got to see it in theaters. I do really enjoy this movie. And then Air, I'm a big sneaker guy. You guys know I have like the stacks of shoe boxes behind me. I'm a big sneakerhead. I work at a shoe store. So, it was just an interesting movie to me. And I love Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Jason Bateman's great. Chris Tucker's great while he's in there. Viola Davis is amazing as usual. Just a really, really fun movie. Really, really good. Even though like how it's gonna end and everything, it's still just a cool movie. I enjoyed it as a sneakerhead. I thought it was a fun movie to watch. I thought it was funny and just well made. Ben Affleck's a great director. Now, that does it for our honorable mentions. Now we're gonna get into the top 10. And I guess in a way, you can treat this like an extension of the Bravo Awards. This would be like my best pictures, my best picture nominees, and then number one is going to be my Bravo Award for best movie of the year. But coming in at number 10, we got The Creator. I really enjoy this movie. I really, really do. I think the visuals, the special effects with the budget that it was made on is just insanely impressive. It goes to show that a lot of these like $100 million blockbuster superhero movies and stuff, I don't know where the budget's going on a lot of those, because I think this is made around like a $10 to $20 million budget, and this looks way better than most blockbusters coming out today, and it has like a tenth of the budget. And I just, I really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the world. I thought the characters were interesting enough. I know that was a big hang up with people, is they didn't really buy into, the relationship between the two main characters and stuff, but it worked good enough for me. It got me emotionally invested. And, when the emotional scenes happened, they hit me. I think John David Washington did a really good job. So did Madeline Univoyles. They did a great job leading the movie. And just the whole vibe of it, it's got like it's directed by Gareth Edwards, so it almost has like a Rogue One-ish feel mixed with some Blade Runner vibes, then also mixed with like some futuristic Call of Duty vibes. And I just really liked like that vibe. I was super into it. I do wish we would have gotten like a director's cut or something, because I feel like a lot of stuff did get cut out of this movie. And I feel like if it was maybe a little bit longer, even though I think it's like 2.5 hours, I think even if there's an option to see a director's cut, I think it maybe would have made it work even better. But yeah, I was just really into this one. I thought it was a really good sci-fi movie, and yeah, I think it's definitely worth checking out. Coming in number 9, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, not part one. Part one. We're dropping to part one, I guess. It's no secret that the Mission Impossible movies are some of the best action movies being made right now, if not the best, just crazy ass stunts and set pieces. Tom Cruise is a maniac. The stuff he does in these movies is just insane. And, he always just finds ways to put himself in danger. and, and it's always very entertaining to watch. I will say though, I thought this one at times was a little overly like complex and convoluted. Now, I only saw it the one time in theaters and it was after work, so I don't know if I was just a little tired when I saw it, but like I remember like when they're explaining, there's like one scene where they're just going in on like exposition and just explaining stuff. And I was sitting there, my head was like kind of spinning a little bit with the information. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I don't know if that was just because I was tired. I don't know if I need to, I'm going to rewatch it on Paramount now. That's on Paramount streaming. So I don't know if that was just me being tired and dumb, but to me, it felt a little convoluted, a little overly convoluted than it needed to be. And personally, I think it's a step down from, I think Fallout is still the best Mission Impossible movie. And then I loved Rogue Nation and I loved Ghost Protocol. I think it's a step down from those three, but it's not much. It's still a great movie, and really just the stunts and set pieces alone are worth a watch just to see how amazing they are. Tom Cruise is great as always. You got the classic crew of Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, and Rebecca Ferguson. They're all fantastic. Love them all. And Haley Atwell was a good addition. I liked her by the end of the movie, and then Vanessa Kirby's really good as well. So just a really fun movie. And if you haven't seen the Mission Impossible movies, I think it's worth just a binge. Catch up, get invested. They're great. They're really great. Like they're so much fun to watch. What's up, Yodo? And yeah, I agree. The whole ending is definitely the highlight of the movie for me. The whole train sequence is awesome. It felt like it was ripped straight out of Uncharted 2. And I was sitting there in the theater pissed. I was like, why is a Mission Impossible movie doing Uncharted better than the Uncharted movie did Uncharted? You know what I mean? Like it left me pissed off a little bit in that way, but great stuff. And yeah, for sure. Mission Impossible, they're just killing it with the action movies right now. They got it on lock. Can't wait to see the sequel to this. Coming in at number 8, we got Thanksgiving. We got Thanksgiving, bro. I can't even believe I'm saying it, but we got Thanksgiving. This is, if you didn't tune into the Bravo Awards, this was my biggest surprise of the year. It won that award. It's the first Eli Roth movie I've ever seen. Eli Roth to me has always been the Bear Jew from Inglourious Basterds, which is awesome. I've never seen any of his movies he directed, so this was a great first impression for me. I absolutely love this movie. I was just sitting in the theater and I had so much fucking fun watching this movie, man. I really did. I'm a massive horror movie fan, and this just really did it for me. And like I've said before, there's really no Thanksgiving horror movies. Like holiday horror movies could be fun. They could also be disasters that are gimmicks, which is what I thought this was going to be. But no, this is just a really fun horror movie. It's going to turn into my yearly, Thanksgiving movie that I watch every year now. I have a Thanksgiving movie to watch. And, I was worried that it was just going to be like a shitty knockoff of Scream and other slashers like that. But it wasn't. It paid homage to Scream and even to like Halloween and some of the other like older classic slasher movies. And it felt like a love letter instead of just like ripping it off. And it, like I said, it just really worked for me. The whole Boston setting to me was funny. Like, I just think Boston accents are funny. Like, I don't know, like the Boston accent was just making me crack up with some of the shit they were saying. And I think John Carver has the potential to be like a new modern, like, slasher icon. He might not be up there with like Michael Myers and Ghostface and Freddy and all them, but for like modern movies and modern horror, I could see him being, like a new staple type character, especially now that it's confirmed that we're getting a sequel to this movie. I'm very intrigued to see how we're getting a sequel to this movie, but I'm down for it. The only flaw I would say is that the characters aren't the greatest. They're all kind of like high school stereotypes, but it kind of just, it is what it is. The movie was so fun that I kind of gave that a pass. But if you guys haven't seen Thanksgiving, I definitely recommend checking this one out. If you're a horror movie fan, I think this was a really, really fun watch. And, if you're a retail worker like me, the opening to this movie will disturb you. Like genuinely kind of disturb you in like a darkly funny way, but also a very disturbing way. There's also just some really gross out gore and like stuff in here. That's just I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I'm a sick fuck. I like some sick gore and stuff. So it was just right up my alley for sure. Really really enjoyed it. And there you go, number 7. We've got Barbie. Can't believe I'm saying that again too. Um, I wasn't surprised that this movie was good. I thought it would be, like fun, like all right. I didn't expect the Barbie movie to be as good as it was though. I think this movie is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. I think Greta Gerwig did an amazing job directing this movie. Um, and really, I thought the entire cast was really good for the most part. The major highlight, obviously for me, is Ryan Gosling as Ken. I mean, I think he's fucking hilarious. I've been a big proponent of Ryan Gosling doing comedies because I've always thought that he's super funny when he does comedic roles. Like The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe is one of my favorite movies of all time, and he cracks me up in that movie. And what was there? There was another movie I think I saw of Ryan Gosling too that I'm trying to think of where I thought he's pretty funny. Even every now and then, like La La Land and stuff like I thought he's funny. Like I've always just thought Ryan Gosling's had some really good like he's a really good comedic actor. So I'm happy he got to just go fucking crazy with it in this movie, and to have it be seen on such a mainstream stage is really cool. So I hope he gets more good comedic roles going forward, along with his serious stuff. But on top of that, I also think Margot Robbie did an amazing job. She kind of gets overshadowed by Ryan Gosling, but I think she was amazing in the movie. I think she was snubbed for an Oscar. Um, I think she also has some really good comedic timing in here. I think she has a lot of funny moments. I think she has a lot of heartfelt moments. I think she shows a good range in the movie. Um, and then even like some of the side characters, like Kate McKinnon as Ugly Barbie and Michael Cera as what the fuck is his name? Oh god, I forget Michael Cera's name in the movie, but he's funny as hell. Will Ferrell as the CEO of Mattel. Like the side characters, I think are really really good. And then on top of that, you got great visuals. Like the sets and stuff are beautiful. Super colorful, super vibrant, super like almost like cartoony. Like it's just really really fun to watch stylistically. The costumes are great. And my only flaw, it's not even a flaw, but like, yes, it has messages, it has themes, and it can be heavy handed at times, but it's not obnoxious. You know what I mean? Like, it's very loud with the messages, but I never felt like it was, hitting a certain point of me being annoyed or being obnoxious, if that makes sense. Like, it has a message, it makes it clear, but it doesn't like overdo it. I think they chose to do it in like a funny way, in a comedic way, and most of the time it works for me. So I really, really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. I am Knuff. And there we go. Number 6, John Wick Chapter 4. I was going to say Mission Impossible is one of the best action franchises going today, but in my opinion, the best is John Wick. Now, if John Wick is over, Mission Impossible can take the crown. But man, did we go out on a high note with John Wick Chapter 4. We went out on a high note with John Wick Chapter 4, man. Chaz Stileski directed the fuck out of this movie. This is a 3-hour long action bloodbath extravaganza. This thing is huge and it's great. It's so good. It's insane. Like some of the action in here, the stunts, the way it's shot, like the cinematography is just mind blowing. Like there was multiple times in the theater where I was just sitting there, especially towards the end of the movie. Like once they get to Paris, shit just starts going crazy, man. I was sitting there, my jaw on the floor for like the whole last hour of the movie, pretty much. Like I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like like you have the whole scene where like there's cars flying all over the place and they're just fighting in the street. You have the top down shot like a fucking old action video game with the shotgun with incendiary shells. Like, oh my god, man, there's just some stuff in here that is insane. And of course, Keanu just commits. He's so great at all the action in the movie, and then he's giving you the yeah, I'm gonna need a gun. He's giving you all that on top of it. It's just it did it for me. I absolutely love this movie. I think I think the cast overall was really really good. I think the new characters were cool. We got Donnie Yen coming in that John's kind of going up against for a lot of the movie, and Donnie Yen's amazing. Obviously, he's a great martial artist, so he did a great job. I think Bill Skarsgård is one of the best villains in the John Wick franchise. He's just like this kind of douchey, slimy, sleazy, posh douchebag. Like I don't know, I don't know, but he does a great job. Um, and then you got Ian McShane and Lawrence Fishburne coming back. Always great to see them. And then R.I.P. Lance Reddick. Loved Lance Reddick's character in these movies. And then also, yeah, Shamir Anderson as what he calls himself like nobody in the movie. He's great. I would love a spinoff of him. Unfortunately, we have the Bob Odenkirk movies that are called Nobody, so I don't know what they would call them. But him and his dog were dope. And then Hiroyuki Sanada is just awesome and everything. And overall, I would say this is probably my second favorite John Wick movie in the franchise. I think I like John Wick Chapter 2 a little bit more than this one, but this is probably my second favorite. And as long as they don't go back and make a John Wick Chapter 5, which, I'm scared about, this is literally the perfect ending to the franchise as long as they don't go and fuck it up. As long as they don't go fuck it up, this was the perfect ending to the John Wick franchise, in my opinion. If they want to make spin-offs and stuff, I'm cool with that. But let the main story just, be, it is what it is, I really, really enjoyed this one, though. This was definitely the best action movie of the year for me. Heard good things about John Wick, but that means that you start watching all the first. Yes, you 100%. It's a little late to jump on the John Wick bandwagon, but hey, better late than never, That's what I'm saying. The John Wick movies are phenomenal, in my opinion. Some great gun fu. Love it. All right, we're cracking into the top 5. Ladies and gentlemen, cracking into the top 5 here. We got Saw X. Saw X. I'm not the biggest Saw fan. I've seen Saw 1, I've seen Saw 2, and now I've seen Saw X. I've only seen 3 of them, so I can't speak really for the whole franchise. But out of what I've seen, this is the second best, or maybe even the best for me. Like, I think Saw 1 is great. So my favorite of the franchise is either Saw 1 or Saw X. This movie is great. I was actually like surprised by how good it was, because even though I haven't seen a lot of the Saw sequels, I heard that they're not great. I heard they get a little rough as they go. So I was very pleasantly surprised by how much I love this movie. I think it was great. I think bringing back Tobin Bell was a massive W. I think Saw is at its best when it has Tobin Bell on screen, like, even though he's really not in the first movie that much, you just kind of like the whole, the mystery and the presence around it worked for me in the first one, but actually seeing him just kind of go to work in this movie was dope. And I think they just found a really good story to tell, where they kind of flip it around on its head, where it's like, Jigsaw has always been the villain, but like, is he that? I mean, obviously he's bad and he's wrong, but like, is he that bad and wrong this time around with, the story that they tell here, because the people that he's putting in these traps are pretty fucking terrible too. So, it's kind of like, two wrongs don't make a right, I guess, but it's a very interesting, like, moral debate they kind of take you on here. So I did really like that spin on it. The traps are vicious. The gore is disgusting, but it's awesome. But it's awesome. It's so well done. And I think they pushed it for me about as far as I would take it before I just say it's pure just like fucking torture porn, you know what I mean? Like they pushed it to the edge. Like they took it very, very far in this movie, but it didn't cross over that edge. It was just enough to the point where I'm disgusted, but it's also cool. And the fact that I find it cool kind of disturbs me. It's kind of like right there. It's right there where it's like it's disgusting, but it's not too far. But it tiptoes, it tiptoes a little bit. There is some mean, gross shit in this movie that makes me squirm when I'm watching it and thinking about it, you know? And if you've seen this movie, the one that really gets me that's disgusting, all I'm gonna say is, they when they have to get a rope for the cart, when they have to get a rope for the cart, that's all I'll say. That is disgusting. Um, but yeah, all of that said though, the level of gore and stuff does make it a little less rewatchable for me. I do love my gore, but it's a little gross. It's not a movie I'm just gonna toss on. I gotta be in the movie to be a little bit of a slime ball. You know what I mean? I gotta be in a gross mood to put on Saw X. But when I am, I'm gonna love it. And this was definitely one of the best horror movies of the year for me. I thought it was great. Um, yeah, I know. I don't really talk about Saw that much, but I'm getting into Saw. I'm becoming a new fan. I bought the Blu-ray collection, so I think I'm gonna watch all of the Saw movies and maybe I'll review them. I'll at least talk about them on a podcast or something. So I'll let you guys know about my Saw journey as I continue. And yes, the bringing back the old characters actually worked here because it made sense. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the Texas Chainsaw movie where it's like, "Oh, we have to bring back a legacy character because everybody else is doing it." You know what I mean? Like it made sense here. I think Halloween did a good job with that. I just think the Halloween, they fumbled the story completely. But I think Halloween bringing back their legacy characters worked for the most part. And then I think it worked very well for Scream until they refused to pay Nev Campbell to bring Sydney back. But everybody else has worked pretty well. And I think this continued that streak for sure. Um, so yeah, that was a surprising movie for me, but I really, really enjoyed it. All right. Coming in at number 4, Scream 6. Scream 6. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It took me a minute to decide whether I liked Scream 6 or Saw X more. And my Scream bias did show. My Scream bias did show. But here's how I would break it down. I think Saw X as a movie is probably better than Scream 6. But I've watched Scream 6. I saw Scream 6 3 times in theaters, bought it on Blu-ray because of course I did. I'm a Scream fanboy. And I watched it another, I think 3 or 4 times. So I've seen Scream 6 around 6 to 7 times. And I've seen Saw X twice. And I know I will continue to watch Scream 6 more than Saw X. So the rewatchability is what put it over Saw X for me. Now, why is it so rewatchable? I think this is one of the most fun movies in the Scream franchise. I think it's a very, very fun horror movie. I really, really enjoyed the New York set piece or the New York setting. Obviously, I'm biased. You know, I'm a little biased. I'm from New York, so I'm a little biased. I think they could have, done a little bit more with the New York setting, but what they did, I thought it was cool. So that was a nice switch up. Taking Scream to New York was definitely a W. The core fucking 4, man. I walked away from Scream 5 really, really enjoying it, but Dewey was the highlight of Scream 5 for me. And I walked away saying, like, damn, the new characters are interesting. The legacy characters still kind of stole the show for me. But I walked away from Scream 5. I was like, man, like the new characters have potential. Like they have potential for sure. I think they could be a really cool new group to follow. And they delivered here. They fleshed them out. They let the actors kind of, put their own personality and stuff into the characters, and they felt a lot more lively. I think sometimes everyone felt like a little, not wooden, but like, I don't know. It felt like they were more comfortable in Scream 6. And I think it just really, really helped the movie overall. Everyone felt like they're having more fun. The chemistry was off the charts with Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Mason Gooding, and Jasmine Savoy Brown. They were amazing together. Loved watching all of them. And I don't even want to think about how Spyglass is fucking massacring the Scream franchise right now by basically not bringing any of them back and restarting. That makes me want to vomit. Let's move on. I'm gonna cry myself to sleep later. Anyway, this movie's great. And Radio Silence heard some of the complaints about Scream 5, not enough chase scenes and stuff like that. They added a bunch of chase scenes. They added some great set pieces, like the convenience store is great. The ladder scene is great. Everything in the movie theater is great at the end, minus the reveal. So that's really the only thing. So everything on paper is great. It's fun. The set pieces are great. You got chases. It's one of the goriest Scream movies. One of the goriest. You got a strong ghost face, a very strong, mean ghost face. But this movie has flaws. It does. It's a slasher movie that has way too many fake deaths. Way too many. That really bothered me. It does. It really bothers me. I kind of accepted it because I love the character so much, but it's a little ridiculous that everybody just gets to live in a horror movie. It's a little like, that didn't sit great with me. Especially now that we're not going to get a sequel, so it's not even like we're going to see them come back. Like, whatever. But and then I thought the reveal was kind of mid. I did not really think the reveal was very good. I think they had to do a lot of, you have to kind of suspend your disbelief, I guess, for some of the reveals. And it's kind of a rehash of Scream 2, the reveal, a little bit. It's kind of a rehash of Scream 2. I won't get into it in case people haven't seen Scream 2 or 6. Or even like 5 or anything. I won't spoil anything like that, but I think it was a little bit of a rehashed reveal and motive. And I think the fake deaths aren't great, but everything else around it is amazing. I loved seeing Kirby come back. I loved having Hayden Panettiere back. I think Courtney Cox kind of got wasted, but she has one great, chase scene in her apartment. That's awesome. And she finally gets her phone call. Roger L. Jackson did a great job, being the voice of Ghostface again. I think he's got some really great dialogue in here. Who gives a fuck about movies? Now I see something red. He did a really good job. Oh, God. Oh, no, he does have voice. Oh, that's why he gets paid the big bucks and I don't. But yeah. And I thought the new characters to this movie were just kind of I thought they were they were fine. They were all right. Nothing too great. But yeah, I thought it was a really fun movie. I'm gonna stop talking about Scream. So I could talk about Scream nonstop. So I'll kind of cut myself off there. Hopefully my complaints and stuff they make sense. I can ignore some of the negatives for like the positives of this movie. I think the positives outweigh the negatives. And I just think it's a really, really fun movie. And it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen Scream 6. So that's going to bring us into our top 3. Chat, do we have any predictions for top 3? Do you have any predictions for what's going to be number 1? 1, 2, or 3? I mean, I'm about to spoil number 3 in a second. Holy shit, the 49ers won. That's crazy. The 49ers actually beat the Lions. Wow, that's insane. Okay. That'll bring us to number three. Coming in number three on a top 10 movies of 2023 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This movie is fan-fucking-tastic, you know? Breaking news, this movie's good. I know. I know. everybody, glazes this movie, but it deserves to be glazed, you know? This is a fantastic, fantastic movie. Not even just a fantastic Spider-Man movie or just, animated movie. Like, this is a fantastic movie. It's got some of the best animation I've ever seen. The blending of different styles is insane. I think the story is amazing. I think the characters are amazing. I mean, I already loved Miles from the first movie, but it made me love him even more. And I really liked how they kind of leaned into his relationship with his parents. It made me love his parents even more. Like, I love his mom and dad. I love Jeff and Rio. They're so great. I talked about his mom a little bit on the Bravo Awards and that one scene with him and his mom that makes me cry every time. Oh my God. And then, Brian Tyree Henry is amazing as Jeff. He's got so many funny parts in here. It just does such a great job. And just all of the voice acting or all around is amazing. Like, it's voice acting, but you could tell like they really, like they really care. It's not just cashing in a check for them in a booth, like they're really, the emotion you feel and everything is amazing. Great performances. And on top of the returning characters, all of the new characters I think are great. Like Spider-Man 2099, voiced by Oscar Isaac is fucking dope. He's awesome. Spider-Punk, Daniel Kaluuya stole the movie for me. He's so awesome. Even what the hell is his name? Paviter from like Indian Spider-Man. Oh my God, he's great too. He's so funny. The dude from Deadpool, he's so funny. Yeah, it's just it's so good. It's so good. The score. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes right now because it's just like I'm overwhelmed. Like the score in this movie is phenomenal. I mean, it's same thing. The music in the first movie was great too, and it's great. It's maybe even better in this movie. I don't know. Like Spider-Man 2099's theme alone is just insane. The only thing I could say about this movie that's not even a negative, but just something, is I think the cliffhanger ending holds me back a little bit from this movie because I think this is like a perfect sequel to the first movie, but in a way, it also feels like a bridge to the third, which may sound dumb because, of course, stupid, the second movie should be a bridge to the third, but like, it really feels like a part one to a part two instead of like the middle chapter in a trilogy, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know if you're picking up what I'm putting down. But that's kind of what I got, where like, the original like Star Wars trilogy, A New Hope tells its story. You could go wherever you want from it. Empire Strikes Back, a great sequel to A New Hope, but tells its own complete story, sets up a lot of great stuff for the next movie. And then, Return of the Jedi just closes it out. Or like this one, I feel like it sets up some stuff. It sets up a lot of stuff, but it doesn't really like, we don't get a lot of like, and like, like we have to wait for a lot of the conclusions. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't fully conclude everything. It gives you like where they're going and setting up stuff, but then just kind of ends. So you got to wait for the conclusion, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not worried. They're cooking. Keep them in the kitchen. Lock them in the kitchen. Only let them in the kitchen. Let them cook everything. But it just makes me a little nervous, because like now I got to wait for the third movie. And if by some catastrophe the third movie ends up being, a diarrhea dookie, it's gonna hurt this movie a lot. Where like the first Spider-Verse movie, 10 out of 10, fantastic, one of the best Spider-Man movies of all time. It tells an amazing contained story. This one is Bridget, it's going into something bigger. So like this movie could go up. If the third movie is like that good, this movie could get elevated too. And if the third one's not up to par, this one could get brought down a notch. So that's kind of my thing with it. Because if this movie would have concluded some of the stuff, this honestly could have been even higher on the list. If I'm being honest, it could have. It could have climbed to number two. I don't know about number one, but it could have climbed to number two. I'm not even gonna lie. For a second, I did have this at number two, but then I thought I just kept going a little. I did it once. I'm not gonna lie. I had the intrusive thought. I put this at number two for a second. Then I sat there and I was like, nah, the ending, and I put back up. You know what I mean? So let me stop yapping. But chat, this movie's amazing. I don't want the ending to also take away from how much I love this movie. I've also seen this movie like probably fucking 6 or 7 times also. It's so rewatchable. It's so much fun. It's got some great emotional stuff in it. This movie is like a 10 out of 10 for me. I think I gave it like a 98% on the Bravo barometer just because of the cliffhanger ending, but it's a masterpiece. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, I'm a big Spider-Man guy. I'm a big Spider-Man guy. Batman's my favorite, but I'm a big Spider-Man guy. And when Spider-Man stuff is good, it's good, man. This was this was arguably the best year for Spider-Man ever because of this movie and the video game. This probably was the best year for Spider-Man ever, media-wise. So good. Because Miles Morales is like, man, I pretty much like him as much as I like Peter Parker now. Like he's so fucking great. And it's because of this movie. So let's see. Coming in at number two, the runner up for best movie of the year is going to be Killers of the Flower Moon. Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese delivers yet again. Yet again. Like, bro. Hey Siri, how old is Martin Scorsese?
On it.
Martin Scorsese is 81 years old. Amen. I hope I'm doing this shit when I'm 81 years old. You know what I mean? He's 81 years old and he's still Gordon Ramsay in this bitch. He is the master chef. You know? Like this is insane that he's doing this at 81 years old. Like this just had like prime Martin Scorsese vibes on it. It just did. This is an amazing movie. Now, this won't be for everyone because this is a 3.5 hour long movie that is insanely dark and even disturbing at times. But man, it is an unbelievable story. The fact that this isn't a more well known story is fucking insane because this is wild. It's insane and it's sad that this isn't more well known, you know? But that's just, you'll watch the movie and it is what it is, you know? It's just kind of it's the way the world works, son, you know? Um but yeah, this movie just left me stunned and shook when it ended. Like I was sitting there after it ended when the credits were rolling. I was like, you know, had like a single tear rolling down my cheek, just sitting there like, wow, dude, this is cinema. Like it was just, it blew me away. Blew me away. Um, all of the performances are great. You got Leonardo DiGodio, just, casually, cooking. The living legend, Robert De Niro. And then you got Lily Gladstone, who's unbelievable. She's winning like all of the awards right now, as she should. She was so good. You got Blem, Jesse Plemons popping in and out, and he's great. Like literally every single actor that's in this movie is great, even if they only have a couple of lines. It's so good. This movie is also an amazing period piece. Like it felt of the era. It has like it reminded me of like it was almost like a classic Martin Scorsese gangster movie, but almost like with a Red Dead Redemption vibe in it because it's like a western in the South. Like you've got like some cowboyish characters, and obviously you have the Native Americans. Like it's so good. Like it's like a western gangster movie. It's so fucking good. It's so good. And it's such a powerful and emotional movie. I don't even want to talk about the story or anything because I think everybody should go into it not really, knowing too much about it so you can just be blown away when you watch it that this actually happened and that no one really knew about it until this movie kind of put it on blast. Like it is crazy. I think it's paced really well overall too. It's a 3.5 hour long movie and it doesn't feel like it. I think it starts off a little slow just because it has a lot of stuff to set up. But once it gets going, it does not stop. It does not stop and it flies by. Yeah, this movie's a masterpiece. Um, there's not much to say about it. I mean, there's a lot to say about it, but there's a lot to say about it, but at the same time, there's not. Like, it's just amazing. It's just like, I feel like everybody should at least try this movie. Everyone should at least try it. It won't be for everybody just because of, the nature of it. But man, is it an important story to be told. And I'm so glad that one of the greatest directors of all time decided to tell the story. Because if it was in somebody else's hands, I don't know how this would have turned out. But Marty cooked. Marty cooked. Yeah, man. Just God bless his soul. God bless his soul. He's 81 years old. And he's directing like he's like still like it's just crazy. Like, yeah. I was like, yeah, this feels like the guy who made Goodfellas, even though he's like fucking, like 40 years older now. Like it's crazy. Um, all right, chat. We've arrived. It is time. It is time. The best movie of 2023. My number one spot. The winner, we could say, because this is like an unofficial award pretty much. The movie that will be taking home the Bravo Award for Best Picture of 2023 is going to be none other than Oppenheimer. It had to be. It had to be. Shocking, I know. It had to be Oppenheimer. It just, there's no other choice. As soon as I saw this movie, I locked in it at number one and never thought twice about it. Nothing else I saw this year even made me like hesitate. Like this was just on a mountain and no one ever even came close to scaling that mountain. Like this was just in a league of its own this year for me personally. When I did finish Killers of the Flower Moon, I was like, wow, like both like Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer, I felt almost the same way after they ended, where I was just blown away. But then I thought about it for like a minute and I was like, nah, but Oppenheimer's still better. I was like, nah, but Oppenheimer's still better. But like I said, just like Killers of the Flower Moon, this movie just left me stunned when it was over. Like I could not believe Christopher Nolan just put on a fucking clinic like this. Like he really went crazy. He went crazy for no reason. He went wild. He was like, nah, I'm gonna get me an Oscar this year. You're darn tootin'. You're darn tootin', I'll get myself a best picture this year. He went crazy. He took all of his Oscar losses personally and said, nah, I'm gonna get me one. And he made this. And it's like, how could he not get one now? How could he not? I mean, dude, like my note right there says, this movie is literally a masterpiece in every sense of the word. Some of the best acting I've ever seen. One of the best looking movies I've ever seen. The music, just everything, like every single box. Like everything I look for when I'm reviewing a movie, everything I consider, everything, just everything. It just checks it. It checks it and it like double checks it. Like this movie blew me away. It blew me away. And I just like I just it blew me away. It left me speechless, like kind of how I am right now when I think about it. Like it's just this is like a feat. This is a feat of filmmaking. This is a movie that's gonna be talked about forever. Like this is something special. It's just insane. I mean, the lead performance from Cillian Murphy is, I think, like the best performance I've seen in a movie this year, just out of anybody. I know I gave the Bravo Award to Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us because I opened up, the categories for TV shows. But if it was just movies, like Cillian Murphy would have had it in the bag. Robert Downey Jr. was unbelievable. Emily Blunt was amazing. Like literally everybody in this. Matt Damon. Oh my God, Matt Damon was good in this movie. I mean, the cast is insane. Like if you look at the cast, and if you've seen the movie, obviously like there's so many A-list actors in here that'll just pop in for like a couple scenes. But when they're there, they're killing it. And the first name that always comes to mind is Rami Malek, bro. Rami Malek literally has like 2 scenes in the movie and he kills it. He kills it. I also think of Casey Affleck. And then he actually has like a semi-prominent role in the movie, but Alden Ehrenreich is great. Like literally everybody that is in this movie came to play and they go crazy. Gary Oldman, like, oh my God. Like, I could just keep naming names. That's how many people are in this movie. Like everybody that pops in, even if it's for a line of dialogue, kills it. Like it's just an acting extravaganza. It's insane. And then on top of everybody going that hard at performances, Christopher Nolan is putting in motherfucking work behind the camera. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to die talking about it. Like, oh my Lord. The way he bounces back and forth between like Oppenheimer's point of view, which is all the stuff that's in color, and Robert Downey Jr.'s character, I'm forgetting his name. Is it Strauss? Yeah, I think it's Strauss. Yeah, I think so. The way he bounces back and forth between like Oppenheimer's point of view and Robert Downey Jr.'s in the black and white, amazing. How the stories come to a head, amazing. The reveals, great. All the court stuff and everything is amazing. I love like court drama and stuff like that. The actual like process of building the bomb and like everything. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I went to see this movie, I was a little nervous that this was gonna be boring because like I don't love Interstellar as much as everybody else. I think there's parts of Interstellar that are kind of slow and a little boring, if I'm being honest. But I was a little nervous going in here. I was like, how technical are we gonna get here, Chris? I'm not a fucking genius, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep up with this all the way. But no, this just kept me on the edge of my seat for the whole movie. the whole time. Like he made this movie just fascinating, so good. On top of the making the bomb, you have all the political drama going on. Like it's just everything is just perfect. It's literally perfect. And this is another 3 hour long movie that feels like it's maybe two. Like you're sitting there and it feels like long, but it doesn't feel like 3 hours. It's like wow, like this flew by. Like it's just insane. And then the ending, everybody talks about the ending. The ending is just powerful. It's just a gut punch. It's so unbelievably good. Like I could just rant and rant and rant forever about this movie, but you guys get it. I love this movie. And this was a great year for me, like my top three directors, my favorite directors. Number one is Quentin Tarantino, and then, sharing like two and three. Sometimes they go up and down are Martin Scorsese and Christopher Nolan. And I got two absolute bangers from both of them this year. So I had a great year this year. This was a great year for me. And not only was, I got to see another Leonardo DiCaprio movie. He's my favorite actor of all time. So this was a great year for me, dude. My two of my top three favorite directors put out some of their best work ever. And I got to see my favorite actor act again, Like this was a great year for me. And I think it was a really solid year for movies overall, but nothing came close to Oppenheimer for me. And I think in my review, I gave it a 98% because I was being a little cautious. I was like, I need to rewatch it again. Because I'm not going to lie, the first time you watch Oppenheimer, like, it's a little overwhelming. But you get the gist of the story and everything. But when you rewatch it and you just get more of the details and everything, oh my God. So, like, if I could go back and re-rank this movie, it would be a 100% on the Bravo barometer, an absolute 100%. I'm a little cautious when I review movies. I don't want to just give out 100%, especially when it's a new movie. If I go back and review like The Dark Knight or Inception, they're going to get a 100% because I've watched them like probably fucking 50 times each and I've seen them for years. I know that they're 100%. I was a little cautious when this came out because like I don't want to jump the shark, Then I rewatch it and I'm like, oh, I was glazing. I don't think it's a 100%. Nah, this is a 100%. So you can, put that in the Johnny Bravo canon. Oppenheimer, as far as I'm concerned, is at 100% on the Bravo barometer, even if my review says no. That'll probably be a future video I do down the line where like I know Anthony Fantano does that for for albums he reviewed. Like I'll probably go back and look at some of my old reviews a few years from now and like let you guys know if my opinions changed. I'll go back and give this a 100 because this is an absolute 100% for sure. Yeah, and I didn't even talk about the bomb sequence, bro. Oh my God. When the bomb goes, Oh my God. Yeah, chills to say the least. Crazy. All these stars of background characters, some of them are just 1 to 2 lines, makes me think what everyone thinks of Chris Nolan. Exactly. Like, and that's the thing, everybody wants to be in a Christopher Nolan movie. Everybody wants to be like, there's just certain directors that like actors will die to be in their movie. Like people were dying to be in Oppenheimer just to say one line. And that just speaks to how much of a fucking genius and legend Christopher Nolan is. Like he's really just on the, he's goated. He's different. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, look, chat. I'm a massive, I love Christopher Nolan. Like I just said, my top three directors are Tarantino, Nolan, and Scorsese. I don't love. I respect Interstellar more than I like it. I do. I think Oppenheimer is way better than Interstellar. I'll probably do a Christopher Nolan movie ranking video at some point. But hey, you guys get a little sneak peek right now. I'll tell you right now, The Dark Knight, Inception, even The Dark Knight Rises, and Oppenheimer are all better than Interstellar. You could put my fucking stamp of approval on that. I said it. Cillian Murphy doesn't even have to say anything. He's so good with facial expressions like in the ending. Yeah, bro. It's literally one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life. And it just goes to show, I talk about this a lot, like when I'm with, like hanging out, just talking with my dad or my friends or something. Like, I even said about Robert Pattinson as Batman. Like, people think, you don't have to give these loud showy performances. You know what I mean? I think I even said about Pedro Pascal in The Last of Us. Subtlety, I think subtlety is harder than being a loud, showy, performer. Because it'd be easy to be like, oh, look at me, I'm acting. But like when it just feels real because it's so subtle and just so carefully curated, like it's stuff like that really impresses me. And Killian just, he never played anything too big. He never made anything too small. And when you're watching the end of the movie and they're just annihilating his character piece by piece, you just kind of fucking feel bad for the guy. Like you're rooting for him. Like, dude, these guys are fucking him up. They're destroying him. And he's a complicated character where it's like, is everything like he's not, you know you can make what you want of Oppenheimer as a person. He's a very interesting character, and I think Cillian Murphy really did a great job of like really showing all the layers to him. But at the end of the day, even though he's a controversial guy, when they're just systematically taking him down, I felt bad for him, and a lot of it's because of how much I was just connecting with Killian's performance. Yeah, just I mean, absolutely unbelievable, unbelievable. But yeah, that does it for my list, chap. That does it for my list. Let me know what your guys' favorite movies of the year are. I want to hear it. I want to hear what your guys' number one picks are. And overall, what do you think of my list? Is it a good list, solid list, bad list? Let me know. Um, but yeah, it's just overall a really good year for movies, I would say. I think, well, no, I was gonna say I don't know. I was gonna say maybe 2022 was better than 2023, but I don't know. Maybe it was. 2022 has some great stuff. Honestly, these 2 years have been really solid. We're coming back from the pandemic. So there's been a lot of really good stuff on hold. And I think we've been eating pretty good, chat. I think we've been eating pretty good over these past few years. Last year was amazing for horror specifically. There were so many amazing horror movies last year. Like last year was definitely a better year for horror movies than this year. But last year had some, I mean, last year we got the Batman, bro. Like I don't know, there was some great stuff this last year, but there's some great stuff this year too. I don't know. I think we're in a nice little 2 year groove right here. Everything's starting to kind of get back on track slowly but surely. Um, I think film is in a good spot right now. I'm pretty happy with everything we got going on right now, and I'm excited to see what we're gonna get in 2024. Hopefully we get some more bangers. Hopefully. Um, I might even do like a Bravo cast episode just about like my most anticipated movies, maybe. Even though those lists are hard to make because I feel like a lot of times like the lists are kind of whatever. Like I don't know. Like I might make one. I don't know. I'm split on those because like obviously like if I was gonna make a list last year, like Oppenheimer would have been on it, Killers of the Flower Moon would have been on it, Spider Verse, Scream. It's really just like the most anticipated lists are just kind of like what is your favorite franchise coming out this year? Because like John Wick would have been on it, but like Saw X wouldn't have been on my list, but it's number five on my best movies list. And Barbie, I don't think would have been on my list, but it's number seven on my best movies list. And Thanksgiving sure as fuck wouldn't have been on my list, but it's number eight on. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of just like it's really just like making a list of all your favorite franchises that are coming out. To be honest, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. Um, but yeah, that's my best movies of the year list. That's gonna do it. And then if you want to have some fun as a little bonus, I could let you guys know like what some of my bottom movies were. I don't really like I'm not gonna make a worst movies of the year list just because there's enough hate out there, so I don't feel like making a video that's just dedicated to hating shit. But just for fun, real quick, since we're live, I'll give you guys a couple of my bottom picks just for fun. I won't even really say anything about them. So I have my bottom three. My bottom three. Uh, I have The Exorcist Believer, which was not good. Uh, there are two of them are horror movies. Then as the second worst, I have Pet Cemetery Bloodlines, which I literally fell asleep watching with my parents. I was just bored out of my mind, like nothing was really happening. Um, and then the worst movie of the year. I'm sorry to all the enjoyers of this movie, but Cocaine Bear. I really wanted to like Cocaina Bear, Coca Cola Bear, but I just couldn't, bro. I thought that movie was gonna be right up my alley, and it just was not. It just was not. Because I like dumb comedies. Like I love, I'm a big Seth Rogen fan. You know? Like This Is the End and stuff like that, and Step Brothers. Like I like stupid comedy, like lowbrow humor. But it was just dumb. It wasn't dumb comedy. It was just dumb. And I'm really sad that that's one of Ray Liotta's last movies. So worst movie of the year for me was Cocaine Bear. But that's gonna do it, chat. Have you done a most anticipated movies of the year list? I No, I haven't. Like I said, I don't know if I will. Would you guys want to see that from me? Do you guys want a most anticipated movies of the year list? Because if you guys want it, I'll do it. But like I said, I feel like a lot of the times it kind of just turns into like, what franchises do you like? But if you guys want a most anticipated movies list, I'll definitely make one. I'll definitely make one if you guys want to see it. Yes, yes. The Exorcist Believer was terrible. You know, I I don't know. David Gordon Green, man. Like, I loved Halloween 2018. I even enjoyed Halloween Kills. Hot take. But I thought Halloween Ends was a complete abomination. So I wasn't really excited to see Exorcist Believer, and I thought the trailers looked bad too. But I was still kind of hoping. And then I watched like, dude, this is like the Halloween Ends of the Exorcist franchise. Oh, like, this is bad, dude. This is bad. And then at the end, when you have like the fucking holy Avengers coming through to try to do an exorcist, like all the different, like priests and like priest and whatever, like all the different faiths like coming together, like they're holy Avengers. I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. I was like, this is fucking stupid. Um, but yeah, that was not a good one. But yeah, I can make a most anticipated movies list. I definitely could. And yeah, honestly, that's the most part. That's the most fun part of the year to me is when I go see a movie that was on no one's radar that I didn't even know was coming out, and then I watch it. And I'm like, wow, that was a great little movie. You know, I feel like a lot of like A24 movies are kind of like that for me because you don't really, like you hear about some A24 movies, but some of them kind of just fly under the radar and then they come out and they're great. So like when stuff like and horror movies sometimes too, like you'll hear about a horror movie being made, like, oh, all right, and then it comes out and it's great, like Thanksgiving. That's always the most fun thing to see every year is all the surprises, to be honest. So I hope we get some really good surprises this year. You never know. That's why if I were to make an anticipated movies list, I would look I would look at a few different lists. Like I wouldn't look only for franchise stuff. I'd be looking to see like what directors are coming out this year or like what studios are putting out, like I'd actually take my time to look and see. So see if I could kind of get put on to some surprises before they come out. That'd be kind of cool. So maybe I'll do that. But yeah, sorry that there hasn't been a Bravo cast for a little bit just because I've been playing The Last of Us. We are we did make a lot of progress on The Last of Us though. We are, according to my PlayStation, we're 75% done with The Last of Us Part 2. So we will have a couple more Last of Us streams. And then, after we finish The Last of Us, we'll kind of go back to our normal or like normal content. I kind of bounce all over the place normally anyway, but we'll go back to, like playing with the boys on Fortnite and, Bravo cast every week. And I want to get back into Music Monday every week too. But I just want to beat The Last of Us first because we're pretty close. And I don't really like interrupting story games, but I interrupted it to do this just because I've been so late with this list that I just wanted to get it out to you guys. So thank you. I'm sorry that's not like an actual video, like an edited video or anything, but The flu, man. I'm gonna just blame it on the flu. It really just it cooked me for so long, and then as soon as I got back from the flu, I just had to go straight to work. So it kind of just it didn't it messed me up a lot. So hopefully I don't get sick in the winter this year or next year, and I can actually make videos for you guys. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed like this format of it, this the list and everything. But yeah, so I should be live tomorrow with The Last of Us. It probably be a kind of it'll probably be like a short stream, to be honest, because I work tomorrow, so it'd be after work, and then I also have to open at work the next day. So depending on what time I'm getting home, I'm either going to do a short stream tomorrow, or I might just skip tomorrow and then do a longer one on Tuesday, because I get out early on Tuesday and then I don't have to work Wednesday. So as per usual, just kind of stay tuned in to my Discord, the YouTube notifications, the Twitch notifications, whatever you guys want to do to stay updated. So next stream will either be tomorrow or Tuesday for The Last of Us. We're gonna finish up The Last of Us this week for sure. If we don't finish it next stream, I'm thinking Last of Us Part 2 probably has like 2-3 streams tops left before we beat it. I'm thinking 2 to 3 streams. So we'll finish it this week, and then we'll get back to our normal stuff. We should have another Bravo cast on Sunday also. So maybe this Sunday we'll do my most anticipated movies. Maybe we'll do that. But anyway, chat, as always, it's been fun. I appreciate you guys for coming out as always. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this list. And if I stream tomorrow night, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow night, But anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your night tonight. Have a great day tomorrow. And I will catch up with you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Bravo 6, going dark. Take care, guys. Have a good one.